you'll find that you can track the most innovative cars in history to successful collaborations between manufacturers. In this video, we'll review 5 car manufacturer collaborations that made history. We have a surprise for you at number 1. Coming in at number 5, we have the Audi RS2 Avant, the birthchild of Audi and Porsche. Before Audi and Porsche became BFFs under the Volkswagen Group umbrella, Porsche had a side hustle. Think of it like making lemonade when life hands you lemons. They teamed up with some other automakers through their undercover identity, Porsche Engineering, to make some extra cash during the tough times. Now let's look at the product of their affair, the RS2. When you look at the RS2, you can't help but notice Porsche's influence, especially with the 17-inch cup wheels ready to roll like they're auditioning for a dance competition. These wheels were like cousins to the ones found on a 964 Turbo or a 968 Club Sport back in the day. Porsche even dabbled in the car's accessories, upgrading the brakes, gauges, and door handles. Oh, and don't forget those sleek front and rear bumpers, brought to you by Porsche's Bumper Magic. You'll think Porsche would stop at the designs, but they didn't. They put on their lab coats and went wild with the engine. The RS2, based on the Audi 80 Avant, had a heart that was pure adrenaline, a 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-5 that spat out 315 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque. It was like strapping a rocket to a roller skate. And to keep things interesting, they tossed in a 6-speed manual transmission and sprinkled all-wheel drive on top. Audi went for the Avant wagon body style, making sure nobody could accuse them of copying anyone else's homework. They weren't just making a car, they were creating a new breed, the performance wagon superstar. And when it came to speed, this wagon wasn't messing around. Audi bragged about 0 to 62 miles per hour in a zippy 5.4 seconds. But here's the real kicker. Unlike other Audis with their electronic speed limits, the RS2 Avant was like a rebellious teenager who sneaks out at night and hits a top speed of 163 miles per hour. It's like the car version of breaking the sound barrier, but with a wink and a smile. Over a year and change, precisely 16 months between 1994 and 1995, about 2,891 of these showstoppers rolled off the production line. And where was this magic happening? Porsche's Zuffenhausen factory. Audi sent over painted body parts like a car party in a box, while Porsche added their special seasoning and gave the RS2 its final flavor. At number 4, we have the Lotus Cortina. This remarkable car was from an insane collab between Ford and Lotus. Back in the swinging 60s, Ford Motor Company burst onto the racing scene like a rock star with a garage full of groovy cars. But the real showstopper was the Lotus Cortina, or as Ford coolly dubbed it, the Cortina Lotus. The Cortina GT already had its moment in the spotlight, owning rallies and circuits like a seasoned pro. But Ford wasn't about to drop the mic just yet. They needed a follow-up that could make tires screech and hearts race on the track. So they dialed up Colin Chipman, the genius behind Lotus, and handed him the keys to their racing dreams. Their grand plan was to build 1,000 of these speed demons to pass the racing gods' approval for Group 2 showdowns. Underneath the hood of the Lotus Cortina was a match made in speed heaven, the Lotus twin-cam head giving a high five to the trusty Ford 1500 bottom end. This engine was like a rocket-powered DJ, spinning out tunes of power and torque. And when it hit the Nürburgring track, it unleashed its beats, dominating the first laps like a party you couldn't miss. The suspension even got a makeover, a racing spa day that turned it into a track-hungry beast. Suddenly, the Cortina was strutting its stuff, ready to conquer any asphalt dance floor. Lotus wasn't playing around when it came to jazzing up the Lotus Cortina. They threw in some serious upgrades, creating a recipe that blended weightlessness with a dash of show-stopping style. First, they went all in on the body. It's like they put the car on a diet and made it do Pilates. Alloy panels were the show's star, gracing the doors, bonnet, and boot lid with their featherlight touch. Even the clutch and differential housing got a makeover with fancy lightweight aluminum. And the front bumper, it got a makeover fit for a Hollywood star. Gone was the full-width grandeur, replaced with sleek quarter bumpers that were cooler than ice cream on a summer day. And let's not forget the bling. Lotus badges adorned the rear wings and grille, like jewelry for the car. The heart and soul of the Lotus Cortina cranked the volume up to 11. While the regular road models were nice with their 105 horses, the racing Cortinas roared with about 150 horsepower. And if you thought the suspension was just for show, think again. Lotus engineers went full mad scientist, tweaking spring and dampener rates at the front to give it a lowered, meaner stance. The rear end got a boost too, with an A-frame and twin radius arms, turning the Cortina into a corner-craving wizard. Number 3 is the McLaren F1. The F1 is a hybrid of BMW and McLaren genius. The F1 was like the ultimate automotive love child. Powered by the BMW S70/2 engine, it was a powerhouse that combined brains and brawn. Way back when the 1990s were just getting started, BMW was cooking up some engine magic. They birthed the M70 B50, a V12 powerhouse that debuted in the 7 Series and the sporty 8 Series. Pumping out a decent 295 horses and 332 pound-feet of torque, it wasn't exactly a speed demon. But the engineers at BMW's M division waved their wands and turned this tamed beast into a roaring 640 horsepower, 479 pound-foot monster. This souped-up secret starred in the elusive M8 prototype, the unicorn of cars that never hit the production line. But its legacy led to the 375 horsepower S70 B56, strutting its stuff in the 1992 BMW M-tuned 850 CSI. As the M8 dream was stirring, Gordon Murray, the mastermind behind Formula One, worked with BMW's Paul Roche, the guru on the M8 project. Roche loved Gordon's idea for a road-ready supercar, and they struck a deal immediately. The outcome? The S70/2, a sleek V12 masterpiece that wasn't just aluminum and pistons. It was a true definition of power. The iconic S70/2 engine from BMW powers the McLaren F1. The S70/2 took the party to a whole new level. With a displacement of 6.1 liters and a bore X stroke of 86 millimeters by 87 millimeters, it boasted a mix of motorsport magic. Think magnesium dry sump lubrication system, Nikasil-coated bores, tiny ignition coils per cylinder, and pistons so tough they could probably bench press a truck. Strapped to a custom 6-speed manual transmission, which was basically the F1's partner in crime, the S70/2 engine was like a conductor, orchestrating breathtaking performance. This dynamic duo could launch the F1 from 0 to 60 miles an hour in a mere 3.2 seconds, just a hair's breadth of time before you even finished saying supercar. The F1 could effortlessly glide past 230 miles per hour, hitting the open road like a rocket on a mission. Under the F1's aluminum hood, the 5.0-liter beast showcased a Bosch Motronic 1.7 ECU, fuel pump, fuel rail, distributor, and a whole bunch of sensors, from mass airflow to crankshaft position. It even had an electronically fancy throttle body and a single overhead camshaft valve train per cylinder bank. The cool part? If one side took a nap, the engine could keep running on just 6 cylinders. Talk about engine acrobatics. As the years danced on, the S70/2 engine wasn't content with just its street fame. It wanted to own the racetrack too. The McLaren F1 GTR version, a tweaked sibling of the road-going F1, made its mark in the BPR Global GT series, practically winking at the competition as it sped by. In 1998, BMW's motorsport wizards took the S70/2 and gave it a makeover worthy of the runway. The result? The 6.0-liter S70/3 is a beast tailor-made for the V12 LM prototype racer and its successor, the V12 LMR. And just when you thought it couldn't get any cooler, the S70/3 made a cameo appearance in an SUV, the X5 Le Mans concept. While this SUV star never made it to production, it left its mark by racing around the Nürburgring Nordschleife in under 8 minutes, a record that remained unbroken for 19 years. The S70/2 engine, spanning from 1992 to 1998, was the heart and soul of not just the F1, but a lineage of triumphs on both the road and the track. And its motorsport sibling, the S70/3, carried the torch until 2000, like a racer that never took its foot off the gas. For over 2 decades, it wore the crown as BMW's most potent production engine, until it graciously passed the baton to the 626 horsepower twin-turbo S63 of the M5 CS. But even with that, the S70/2 remains a masterpiece, a symphony of engineering, power, and passion that stands tall in the Hall of Automotive Legends. Hot at the heels of the McLaren F1 is the Shelby AC Cobra as number 2. The AC Cobra was a transatlantic love affair, a dance of British elegance and American muscle, brought to life by the dynamic duo of Carroll Shelby, the Texan speedster, and AC Cars, the English craftsman. Carroll Shelby, a race car driver from Texas, required speed that couldn't be tamed. Though health issues tried to break his dreams, he founded Shelby American in 1960 with one mission: build race cars that could make your heart race. Shelby had his eyes on the AC AC Ace, which had been tearing up the track from 1957 to 1959. He sat down with AC Cars, put his charm to work, and together they birthed the legendary Shelby Cobra. Each Cobra Roadster was a work of art, crafted by hand and as unique as a fingerprint. Owners could tweak their 221 cubic inches Ford small block engine to 260 or 289 cubic inches, like picking out the finest ingredients for a gourmet meal. The Cobra wasn't just a car, it was a beautiful blend of small, light, and outrageously quick, dancing its way to domination on drag strips and racetracks. But the Cobra's story didn't stop there. In 1965, a new chapter was written with the Mark III chassis. This one packed a punch with a big block 427 cubic inch engine. Picture a lightweight aluminum body draped over 500 horsepower, and you have a recipe for mind-bending speed. Guinness World Records took note and crowned the 1965 MK3 as the fastest production car on the planet. The crown rested comfortably for quite a while. The Shelby Cobra MK3 SC was the kind of car that could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a blink and you'll miss it, 3.6 seconds. And if you thought that was impressive, imagine it hitting a top speed of 186 miles per hour, like a rocket on wheels. You probably didn't see it coming, but the AC Cobra MK3 is the ultimate superstar of copycats. With a whopping 50,000 copies roaming the streets to date, it's like the original set a trend that the world just couldn't resist. At number 1, we have the one and only BMW M1. The BMW M1 was like the offspring of a passionate love affair between two car gods. While BMW handled the chassis, Lamborghini brought their magic touch to the engine. It's like Batman and Superman teaming up to save the day. But everything seemed to be going south when Lamborghini had a change of heart midway, leaving BMW with a partially finished puzzle. But BMW wasn't about to let a little hiccup slow them down. They tapped into their motorsport division, MGMBH, and turned the M1 into the supercar dreams were made of. Sleek lines, muscular curves. It was the perfect blend of design and power. Under that sculpted hood lay a 3.5-liter straight-six engine, a work of art that could produce 277 horsepower. This car was more than just a pretty face. It was a performance beast, capable of hitting 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5.6 seconds, and reaching a top speed of 162 miles per hour, a speed frenzy that had jaws dropping. The BMW M1 has an unassisted rack and pinion steering. No training wheels here. The suspension is like a double wishbone dream, with adjustable coil springs and Bilstein gas-filled dampeners. Now, in the real world, the road version got a bit softer with its suspension bushings, so you could cruise with comfort and still show off your moves. Braking? It's all about those ventilated brakes, measuring 300 millimeters or 11.8 inches up front and 297 millimeters or 11.7 inches in the rear. The M1 rocked special Campagnolo alloy wheels, 7 by 16 inches in the front and 8 by 16 inches in the back. And they didn't just put on any tires, they went for Pirelli P7s with a size of 205/55 VR15 up front and 225/50 VR15s in the rear. The BMW M1 was a limited edition superstar, with only 453 units gracing the streets, further adding to its exclusivity. Which of these car collaborations was your favorite? Let us know in the comments section. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you find this content valuable. We'll see you in the next one.